Hi, in the previous videos, the video 1 and 2, we introduced how to convert our character rig to the origin agent. And in this video, we are going to introduce how to convert the keyframe to the animation file to the actions. And then we can combine the actions to the origin agent test and make our agents the playback animations with some of the logic sentence. So let's get started. Let's first open our example file in Scene and Animation Library. This is a keyframe to the animation character rig. Let's first open our standard one, the stand. You can see that this is a character rig with all the controller on that. You can continue to track the animation as you wish until you satisfy everything. So let's play back the animation and see that this is kind of the rest and the animation. So let's first create an inventory of my army and convert this animation to the action node. Here, what I'm gonna do is pretty much select the group and middle click and drag to the setup folder, and just to make sure the bone structure, the deformation bone structure, is at the top node of the first meet the joint. So in this case, in this time, we can convert the entire animation to the action node. And the whole thing is automatically, and you don't need to bake anything. Just leave that keyframe animation. So click my army, the action, create action. So let's specify a name, stand. So it will take some time to convert each bone of the character joints to the action node. After the creation, there's the action setup wizard that popped out. You can set up the followed by the steps, and then this can make it everything default and save some of your time. So let's get started in setup. And this action is actually a steal, because this action, their agent is not move forward or the rotate. It's just to stand here. So we need to choose the steal, and you need to choose the playback type. The cycle action means something, and some action can blend the front and the end. For example, the walk or stand, something like that. And the transition action means the walk to stand and the stand to walk, and the in between something that can connect the two and cycle actions. So at this time, we need to select the cycle action, and this is a percent of the self cycle. That means we can blur the front and the end of the self cycle and the action. So the default is 10, so we'll leave that default. And this is transition in, that is to indicate some frames which we can transit into this action from others. And this out range means only after this percent. So that means we after playback 80% of the stand, only after that we can transit to others. So we just leave that default. At this time, you can see that our action has been created. You can continue edit that in the action editor here. Oh, I'm sorry, here, this guy. You can see that there's a lot of the parameters here, and we are going to introduce them later for some of them. And the rest of them are listed in the document. Here you can see that the cycle range we previously set up inside of the setup wizard, and the entry and exit range. And at this time, let's export that. Let's select this action and click Shift P for unparenting that to the action to the world transformation space, and then let's export that. Export selection, and we export this as my ASC file to this action folder, the stand. Let's rename it the action stand. this should be correct, the naming convention. We add the version, for example, version 1. Cool. Export selection. And let's open another animation, the walk. Let's open that, and don't save this one, because we can create the action anytime we want. You can see that this is our standard, the walk. It's kind of a walk cycle. You can see that if the animation is long, and you can just trim that as you wish. So this is a one-step cycle. So let's create it. Let's click the Miami Ready here, and let's put the group. The middle click and drag to the setup, or you can hit click the group and click the setup and hit P. Can parent that into this, and make sure the first appearance that the joint is the deformation, the tree joint. And sometimes if you're using the advanced skeleton, the motion system and the deformation system is in the reversed order, so you need to reorder this and save your file. So this is cool, and let's create the action from this animation. Action, create action, walk. Proceed. And after this, let's create some of the parameters inside of this action. Let's click the setup, and at this time you can see that the agent is to walk forward, and with some of the location change. In this case, we needed to choose the move forward Z plus, and you can see that this is move forward and move forward Z plus. That means move forward can be move forward a little bit degree. But the move forward Z positive means the agent will walk straightly forward without any of the shifting. So let's select this guy and click this cycle, because this is a cycle action, and the others leave the default. Okay, and this action has been created. Let's click the Shift P and click the file. Export selection to the scene actions main walk version 1. Okay, and let's open our action node, action file. You can see that there's only one node here. That means everything is correct. We only need that. And then let's do some tests. Let's first open our the OA test file. We previously created and refined the origin agent and saved it as the main OA test 02. And here we are going to import those two actions. Let's first use this Miami. Import the result namespace MA file. Scene actions. And let's import the second one, because if you're using this tool, there's no namespace here. The action, the walk. And the simplest things we're gonna do is pretty much put these two actions to the action folder. Let's select them and control click, hit P, and parent them into the action node. Please make sure the naming convention is the action name underscore action underscore the this one, the man. This is very important, and don't contain any of the namespace in this kind of mode. And then later we're going to introduce how to use that as the referencing, but at this time please do not contain that namespace. So this should be the same as the above, underscore man and then underscore action underscore and the stand and walk. Perfect. Let's create the logic. as we previously mentioned, the first one should be the default, or we just use this abbreviation and make this default. We need to fill a default action here. This is a must because our engine need an entry point for the action cycle. So we need to fill an action here. If we fill that stand, we just need to fill the stand instead of the entire name of the node. The stand is enough. And let's create another node, the walk. And here, let's select the animation action playback, play action sum, and priority 1. Let's play the walk. Fill this sentence and place our agents and the playback animation. You can see that our agents start from the stand, and when we select the agent, you can see the progress bar showing the progress of the stand. And only after the playback 80%, as we set up that before. Here we need to select the stand. You can see that we specify that at 80. So it's only after the frame 80% it can transit to the walk. So you can see that the agent will start walking thereafter 80%. So if you set this value 20, our agents can transit from the stand to walk immediately if the logic trigger that. So let's do that. You can see that the only 20% the playback they can start the transit to others. We're going to introduce that later, and at this time, this is the entire process of how to creating the actions and bring that into the OA test file. Let's then save this file as the OA test free. You need to import all of the animation into your OA test file, and finally test everything fine and export the original agent. We're going to introduce that later soon. Thank you for watching. See you next time.